Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm putting together a couple of pots for the holidays and I just wanted to show you how I go about doing it. This is the first one that I have all done. I just got these brand new urns this year. These are called the Esplanade urns from Unique Stone and I absolutely love them. So I've been really excited to utilize them in some way. And then I just packed them full of really beautiful stuff. So the second one is right here. And I just wanted to show you kind of from like start to finish what I do. I've already put soil in it. That's it. It's just regular potting soil because this is the stuff that I will go ahead and use when spring hits, when I get ready to do my spring plants. So the first thing I want to place is actually the obelisk, which you can see it in this one, how gorgeous this is. Now I know a lot of you guys are going to ask where I got these. I got them at our garden center. I cannot find the source. I've been searching and searching. I will try to search even more. If any of you have seen this in passing and you know where it's from, please let us know. But you usually can find something like this at a garden center, some kind of iron orb or something like this. But I think they're just so pretty. So let me grab that out of my trailer. I've got all of my supplies sitting out over here. It's kind of a mess, but this is how projects happen. So it actually folds up, which I think is kind of cool. So I'm gonna just kind of splay it out here, make sure that my spacing's kind of even. And then I'm gonna place it in the pot. So now that I have the obelisk placed, I kind of packed the soil down just lightly tamped it. And now I'm gonna water it in because a lot of these greens that I'm using are actually still alive. So if I make a fresh cut on their stems and insert them into moist water, they will still draw up some water until the soil freezes. Next, I'm going to add some Arctic Fire Dogwood, but I just wanted to reiterate that the water in the soil is pretty important, not only because the greens will still continue to take up water, but they'll also freeze into place. Once it gets really cold and freezes that soil, that moist soil, everything will be locked in, and that's pretty important, especially if you live where it's really windy. So I'm going to put these Arctic Fire Dogwoods in and kind of just like disperse them evenly around the pot. I'm used to designing stuff where there's a back, like it's up against a building or next to a door. This one you can see from all the way around, so I have to make sure that it looks good from every angle. And I just push them in just several inches. So Arctic Fire Dogwood is in. Now I'm adding some Arctic Sun. Check out the color on these branches. They are so amazing, and everything except for two of the items I'm using today, you can actually, most of us can grow them in our garden. And I live in a zone 5. I think these are hardy down to like a zone 3. So ideally we could go out into our gardens and cut these every year to make really pretty pots for Christmas. And so I'm just doing the same thing with these that I did with the Arctic Fires, just dispersing them around the pot. Now that I have my dogwood centerpiece all placed, and I just kind of, I don't know if you guys could tell, but I just poked them in to where I had some in every spot. Does that make sense? Like they're evenly dispersed. So now I'm going to start layering. I want to start with my spiller first, which is this pine. And I just made a bunch of fresh cuts, so they should all be good to go. About this long. And the whole point of the pine is just to kind of grace the sides of the pot. They won't be like a dramatic spiller because I really don't want that. I want to be able to see these urns. They're just a nice soft layer. So I am just going to work all the way around this pot. So see the shape of this pine branch right here? It kind of has a natural curve and they're really flexible. So they're really perfect to use on the edge of pots. All right, I think that looks good. So now I'm going to start layering in between the tall centerpiece and the spiller pine. And to start layering, I'm going to use some Magnolia. Now this is something that I cannot grow in our zone 5, but I can order it from our florist. So I typically do every holiday season. I'll just order, a few bunches that I can use in projects like this, and they really dry nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and give them all a fresh cut before I put them in. And then what I want to do is put a bunch like probably in between every rung of this obelisk. Doesn't that add some nice bulk to the pot? I love this stuff. Oh, this is a big one. I think I need to cut that one down a bit. This is the little end I cut off, and you can always utilize those too. I'm going to just tuck it right in. And I'm just pushing them down into the soil right now, just to where I like the height of all of them. I had them a little bit tall in the beginning. I kind of want them just to look like one step up from the pine. Looks pretty good. So let me grab my next green, which is this Polar Gold Arbor Vitae. Love the texture of this one. It's really ferny and soft. It smells good, and it has this nice gold color to it. So it'll bring some brightness. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. So I'm going to just tuck this around, probably tuck a piece right into the center. In fact, let me do that first. So I'm going to kind of just drop it down in, make sure it like goes down into the soil just a little bit. But you know, we add so much stuff to these types of pots that they all kind of help hold each other in the beginning until it freezes hard enough to keep them all in place. Kind of going in between the magnolia with these. These are just such a wonderful filler. So you can see it's starting to take shape. It's starting to look more and more like the other one, but I just have a few more things to add. Starting with the seeded eucalyptus. Now I like the blue color of the leaves. Of course, this adds a beautiful texture. Look at that. This is the other one that I do order from the florist. So the magnolia and this one are the only two that I can't grow in our area, but I love to use them and stuff like this. These actually do really well through our winters. They just to kind of stay preserved looking. So I'm going to cut these kind of to shape here. And what I want to do is kind of go in between the magnolia again and just tuck them in right above the pine. Look at that. So pretty. Look at that. Okay, that is just so pretty. So I think I've got all the eucalyptus in exactly where I want it to be. It brings kind of a bright pop and some really good texture. So now the next layer is this berry heavy gold winterberry holly. That's absolutely gorgeous. And this will really shine in this arrangement, I think. So I'm gonna kind of carefully separate these stems so I don't lose a bunch of berries, but they actually hold really well in arrangements. So these, I'm just gonna introduce right in around the eucalyptus. And I'm just going to try to split them up. I wish I had like 5 times this amount of winterberry holly because I think that it's just so pretty, but it probably would take away from it. I think having just a little touch of it really makes it interesting and really, I don't know, like not too much. So I'm gonna work on trying to evenly place these berries. And then for good measure, the last thing I'm gonna add in is a little bit of boxwood, which if you look behind me, you can see that I have a little bit of boxwood in our garden. It's one of my favorite plants. And I'm just using this to fill in any like little holes that I might find here and there, which there really aren't a whole lot of them. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. The arrangement's done and I love them both. I think that they look absolutely beautiful. And as I was pushing the greens in, there was one other thing I thought of I could have added to this to make it even like a little bit more over the top. I could have twisted some fairy lights around the obelisk so that it was lit up at night, but Erin has so many Christmas lights up this year that I don't think that you would miss these at all. I think they'll be illuminated really well, but I think that they're so pretty. There's so much interest going on. You certainly would not have to use this much stuff in a pot to have a beautiful holiday container. You could do one type of dogwood or some kind of branch and one type of evergreen, and that's beautiful and simple, and I like those just as well as something like this. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some wilt stop, and this is made of a natural pine resin that helps like coat the leaves and the needles of all these plants. It helps prevent moisture loss, so it's actually really good for your Christmas trees as well. It'll help them last through the season. So it's really easy. It's just one application and you just spray it on just like this. I'm gonna make sure I got good coverage here. Voila. So the last thing is just to remember to keep some water on these containers. I know it seems a little bit odd because these plants are all cut branches, but like I said, until it really freezes hard, these plants will still take up a little bit of moisture, especially since we gave them all a fresh cut. So if you have extended dry periods, make sure to toss a little water on them. We actually had a rainy day today here in Eastern Oregon, which is a little bit odd, and we're expecting a little bit of snow in the forecast. So I may not have to do any supplemental water because I watered the soil today. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I love these containers. I can't wait just to, I don't know, I just love to have stuff like this to look at through the winter time. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out and we will see you in the next video. Bye.